Howdy folks, today I want to tell you about one of my favorite products that I take into the woods with me every single time I go. I got it as a gift several years ago and man, I absolutely love it. That's the Helle Harding, one of the best knives I've ever put in my hand. Helle is a Norwegian knife maker. They're based out of Holmedal, Norway. They make incredibly beautiful knives and they're very tough, which for someone like me is very important. Something I really like about Helle knives is their packaging. This is the way they come. They come in a box and this tube is in the box. The reason I like this is because anybody that hunts with me knows I'm a very disorganized person and I lose a whole bunch of stuff. So having this when I get home, I can put my knife back in here and then just put it up on my gun cabinet or in my gun cabinet. It makes it very handy. So when you open this up, you're going to have your knife. And then a little booklet that basically goes over cleaning. It says it has a little bit of information about your knife, cleaning, sharpening, and that kind of stuff. Helle also includes a cleaning rag, which is pretty daggone handy to have. You know, I always try to clean my knives before I put them back up. So keeping a little bit of oil in this cylinder too, I can keep everything clean, keep everything oiled up and well taken care of. The blade on the Harding is a triple laminated steel. What that means, it's a high alloy steel in the center, sandwiched between stainless steel on the outside. What that does is protects the high alloy steel from corrosion and damage because it's a little bit more brittle. It also makes this knife very sharp and very strong. The blade on the Harding is probably my favorite thing. It is sharp out of the box. It stays sharp. I've probably gutted, I don't know, 5 deer and probably 5 turkeys with it, and it is just about as sharp as it ever was. Now the handle on the Harding is just a really pretty handle. It's got curly birch in the center, leather inlays in between, and then dark oak on the outsides. I really think it's one of the shining points of the knife because, man, it just looks good. It looks good to have it on your hip. It looks good when you pull it out. It's a very pretty handle. The length of the handle is about 110 millimeters, which is around 4.3 inches. And really, it just fits very well in my hand. I don't have huge hands, but it just fits really nicely. At the end of the handle, there's a brass fitting where the end of your tang is. And it's super nice because it fits into your sheath, and that sheath buckles down right over top of that brass fitting. I guess I should talk about the sheath a little bit as well. The sheath is tan leather, very nice, and they use saddle polish on it, so it's really nice. I try to keep mine oiled just to prolong its life a little bit. And it has a pretty large belt loop, so anybody with a great big wide belt could probably still wear this sheath. It also fits this knife just perfectly. You know, put the knife in, it just doesn't fall out. And then you can also clip the leather part of the sheath right over top of it, and you're good to go. So I guess I should tell you why I chose a Helle knife. And I can't say that I necessarily chose one. Someone chose it for me. My brother asked me what I wanted for Christmas one year, and I told him, I said, I'd like to have a knife that I can use for the rest of my life, that's tough, that's pretty nice and stays sharp, but one that I can hand down to my grandkids someday. And as I've gotten older and as I've had a child, I've really kind of started thinking more about that. What am I going to leave everybody someday? And I think it would be kind of cool to hand down a knife that I gutted 500 deer with, or 1,000 or 5,000, probably more likely 5,000 for sure. But I really think, you know, this knife is so strong, it stays so sharp, and I've been able to put it through a lot of abuse so far with not very many signs of wear. I'm pretty sure I will be handing it down to my kids, grandkids, great-grandkids. Somebody's going to want it someday. I'm sure one of them is going to hunt and absolutely love their grandpa's knife. Well, I hope you enjoyed my review of the Helle Harding. I really enjoy this knife, and I think you probably would too if you're into like quality stuff. You know, there's too many companies that take shortcuts, save money on different materials, and you get their product and you're like, ugh, man. That won't happen with a Helle, I promise. Go get you one and enjoy it. See ya.